Hey, you are back with Talking with Terry TV. And on this special edition, we're answering questions from viewers just like you. If you want more content like this, make sure that you subscribe and drop your questions below. We'd love to answer what you have on your mind. Over 90% of you have not subscribed. What are we thinking? Oh my goodness, let's make sure that you do not miss all of the yummy, juicy material that we're putting out there. And so we're on our way to 1,000, and we appreciate your subscribing and sharing. So please subscribe, help out our channel, and so that we can provide more value to you. Today's Ask Terry is coming in from Sarah. She says, I have suffered from anxiety on and off for years. What can I do to take back control over my body? So often when we feel anxiety, our natural tendency is to fight it. And actually what has happened and what I've seen happen over the years and years of working with folks with anxiety is it actually makes it worse. So we have all good intentions, but we're actually doing the opposite effect to it. So in all transparency, there are hundreds, if not thousands of different tools out there to support reducing, eliminating anxiety. And what I'm going to invite you to do is to have a toolbox of tools, because something may work one day and not the other, okay? But the other thing is doing the deeper work. Now, in this on this video, we can't go into that, but it's also looking at clearing the patterns and the programming to that, because there's a lot of other factors that could be taking place. So I'm all about eliminating, transforming, and shifting it for good. But for right now, we're going to do a tool that has been really helpful in helping people shift the anxiety or whatever that intense feeling is for you, okay? So the first thing is what I invite you to do, especially if it's anxiety, give him or her a name, okay? How is it showing up? And I give the example of my anxiety that shows up when I'm speaking. And I gave her, what she does is she rubs up my body. So I actually gave her the name of Revy, okay, for obvious reasons there. And so you can be creative with the names, okay? I had a client one time and he called his, it was his fear, he called him Richard Cranium, okay? And if you reduce Richard down, okay, and you reduce, what's another word for cranium, okay? Put them together, okay? It's pretty funny, okay? You guys figure it out, right? But it made him laugh every time he would say Richard Cranium, right? And so you can be playful with it too, but come up with a word or a name that resonates with you. And give it a name, and then when he or she shows up, you acknowledge them, because again, our emotions that are showing up is really in our internal guidance system. It's giving us information, and if we can see our emotions just as that, as that their role or their job, if you will, is to give us information, we can then start to automatically kind of be like, okay, what is she trying to share with me today, right? And so I acknowledge her. I say hello to her. Oh, hi, Revy, you're back again. I see you. What's going on, girl? And it's almost like I've personalized her. And one time I actually had someone ask me, they're like, is Revy like a real person? No, she's not. But I've external, what's the word I want to use? I'm spacing the word right now. But I projected her out here, right? And I can have this conversation. So I almost like think of her as like this defiant teenager. And in the beginning, she was super defiant. She would show up when she wants. She would, sometimes try to embarrass me because I would have all this anxiety. She would, right? Like all the things you would think of a traditional, defiant teenager doing, right? And at some point, her and I became friends, and now we're close buddies, right? And so when she shows up, I'm like, hey girl, and sometimes now, honestly, in total transparency, she has become so lazy. She's the teenager that likes to sleep in, doesn't come to things, super late to things, like, and so we joke now that like she rarely shows up anymore. And when she shows up, she's appropriate, right? And so again, she's evolved over the years, but in the beginning I used to be so terrified of her when she would show up. And now it's like, okay, and I would give her boundaries. Okay. This is the other thing is if I'm speaking for 25 minutes, okay, Revy, you can have the first 2 minutes. Okay, now strategically, I would be placing humor in those first 2 minutes because it dissipates, that experience. And then as soon as she knows she's safe, oh, okay, she could breathe again, right? And then it became like, that's a long time, 2 minutes, right? So then I gave, okay, you have a minute. And now she's down to like, 10 to 15 seconds, okay? So play with it, give it a time frame. The other thing that you can also do is say, okay, Revy, I will give you all the attention you need and want on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. And so at Tuesdays at 8 a.m. And so if it's Friday and she's showing up, you're like, you know what? I'm sorry, wrong day, wrong time. We have a scheduled appointment. We'll see you on Tuesday, right? And you kind of redirect it and you delay that and you give it a boundary, you give it a place, and it's amazing how quickly that will dissipate and shift the energy, okay? And then the last one is just, ask it, what are they here to teach you or show you or inform you of? Because again, these emotions are our internal guidance system. It is giving us information. And so if we can tap into it and see it as such, we can make friends with it really quickly. Okay, and just asking that, and you might get in a download or an insight or an awareness. It might be a conversation that comes up, whatever it is, just listen to it, trust it, and it is building that intuition, it's building that muscle. And so it may take a time or two. Just give yourself the patience to craft and create that muscle that it's supporting with you. Okay, and then just take a deep breath in and out, and just breathing will help to regulate that parasympathetic system, and it will take you back into the rest and digest area versus going into the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, so just taking that breath and just knowing and trusting. And then I always at the end will just thank her. I'll thank her for showing up. Thank you so much. You have my back. I mean, she's like got your back, right? And so I thank her. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's like having your best friend saying, I got you, girl, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so grateful, right? And when you can shift it into a place of gratitude, it is such a game changer. So I invite you to try that on. Let me know how that works for you. And I'd love for you to comment below and share that with us.
I'm Jeffrey Bowling, owner and jewelry designer at Jeffrey B. Jewelers, Denver's #1 jewelry design studio. And the reason why we're #1 is because of our 3D custom jewelry design. We can show you what your piece is going to look like way before the end product. And this is going to give you the comfort of knowing you get exactly what you want.
He took me over to the computer and we started drawing up exactly what I wanted. And I told my husband, I'm like, Jeffrey B is the person we're going to use.
And the other reason is that all of our gold and our diamonds are ethically sourced. So when you're ready to make that proposal, when you're ready for that legacy piece, go to jeffreyb.com and make an appointment. Because when it's love, it's Jeffrey B.
Hey friends, you're talking with Terry, and on today's Ask Terry, this comes from Judy. She says, I often get distracted and lose focus, which makes a 15-minute task take 3 hours. What tips do you have to maintain my attention for longer periods of time? Well, Judy, I will tell you this. You are not alone, my friend. Post-pandemic or pre-pandemic, I think this was a big challenge. And I think we have different challenges, but we are still being bombarded with kids activities, Zoom meetings, conference calls, this, there, run, do, all of it, the technology, the mayhem in between, right? So it's easy for us to lose focus. So I'm going to share with you and unpack a couple tips today that has really helped me in staying more focused. Now, again, I am a big believer in time blocking and calendar blocking. Now, some people they're all about that, and some people are like, not my jam. Whatever works for you, but the brain works best. The whole multitasking, okay, is not in alignment with the brain. Okay, let's just save some time and energy and resources here, and let's just say stop it to multitasking. It really is a hard process for the brain. So what happens when we multitask is that we think that we're doing a lot, but what happens is that there's a lag time for the brain. So there's a certain mechanism for each project and task. So if I'm answering phone calls and then I get an email, my brain says, oh, wait, now I'm receiving emails. What do I need to activate to do that task, and what brain pieces need to be on board? And then it's like, okay, and then I'm doing this, and then all of a sudden I get this. And so the brain is always having to kind of recalibrate to the task at hand. And so it really is just creating a lack of focus all over the place, and it's not allowing us to maximize the brain and the resources in its fullest capacity. So if we can create the space and do some time blocking, not only is your brain going to love you, you're actually going to be more productive, and you're going to stay more focused for longer periods of time. Now, the adult brain will pop out of focus about every 20 minutes. So I use that as a built-in mechanism to use things 15 to 20 minutes. Is really, those are the tasks that are broken up into. So think about your calendar. And is there certain tasks that you can break out and create some structure and some routine around it, so you're only doing one task at a time? For example, you might on your calendar say, okay, these 3 hours are discovery calls. And so you might have every 20 minutes or every 30 minutes a new discovery call. And it's one task, it's one thing, right? Then in the afternoon, you might have, okay, I'm going to run errands, or it might be that this is my time for this specific networking event that I attend every meeting, or whatever that might be. Okay, so think about your activities, your business strategies, your lead generation activities, social media time, all of these different tasks that can be broken down and grouped together so that you're doing one group at a time. Okay, time blocking is a really powerful way for the brain to help maintain that focus. And again, give your brain a break. So every 15 to 20 minutes, you can use, if you have a time timer, which I love, you can use a time timer, and that's a really powerful way to help your brain stay on track. The next one is to start the night before. I'm telling you, this is such an easier way to help engage the brain in using energy, okay? I have my daily intentions planners, and I use them to help me become more efficient and more effective by planning out my day the night before, so that, the quote how can show up for me and with me and alignment to me, okay? And so utilizing your daily intentions planner can actually help you be more strategic about your day and really be honing in what you get to do during the day. Okay, love it, love it, love it. And when we start the night before, we actually engage the brain, and quote the how will almost magically show up for you, which is really juicy. And then the last one is really what I engage is saying the 20-minute beat the clock. When I have certain tasks that I got to get done, I will often what I call beat the clock. And so I might tell myself, okay, I got to make these, these phone calls, and how long is it going to take me? It's going to take me, 15 minutes. Okay. Could I get it done in 14 minutes, right? And it becomes like this adrenaline focus, like, okay, let's go, right? Now, I don't do this for all tasks, but it's tasks that could be fun or engaging, right? It might be like, okay, sometimes I'll have a challenge with one of my staff members, and like, okay, how many of us can get, so much done in this amount of time? And I'm like, okay, let's go, and so it can be playful and fun. But when after you do so, you can then set a reward, like, okay, I'm going to take the next 20 minutes. I'm going to do this. And then my reward is I'm going to go walk around the block, or I'm going to go grab a cup of tea, or, whatever that might be. And then it becomes really fun and engaging. And what you'll find is you'll be so much more productive when you're playing beat the clock. Okay. And it's based in science. It's the Parkinson's theory, which is whatever we tell it's going to take, we will expand or contract time based on the need to fill it. So if you tell yourself it's going to take 12 minutes, it's going to take 12 minutes. If you tell yourself it's going to take 2 hours, it's going to take 2 hours. So you can really be in alignment with the energy by playing with these few practical tips here to really help your brain stay on track, to help it stay focused, and giving yourself the grace when you take a break. Do a little brain break, do a little brain exercise. I have some other videos that talks about some of these brain breaks, so go back in, watch those videos, and get a couple of those brain breaks so that you can use those actually to help the brain retain and maintain it for longer periods of time as well. All right, I will talk to you soon. Hey friends, did you get something juicy from Judy's question about focus? I know I sure did. I created a part 2 to provide some practical tools to help us re-energize, re-engage, and refocus. Make sure that you stay tuned because we are dropping part 2 this weekend. Yes, we're dropping it like it's hot. So you want to make sure that you're staying engaged, subscribe, and let's refocus on your life and your business so that we can create a profound impact. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell to find out about my upcoming shows. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.